My advice to a young filmmaker is to make a movie every week.
Okay.
Cut. Oh, that's so cute.
Make films, no matter what anybody says, and you'll be a filmmaker.
Well, here we are yet again, and you know what they say, third times do no harm. Just a quick recap for what this is, why we're all here, or at least all 10 or 15 of you. I've challenged myself every 2 weeks to shoot, edit, and release a short film of any kind, any length, any type, every 2 weeks, and so this is entry 3 of that. Now, this week's short film came from a number of different avenues for inspiration, namely the directing style of Wes Anderson. Myself and my girlfriend Kendallin have been getting way into Wes Anderson films. They're great. We started with Grand Budapest Hotel, we did Royal Tenenbaums, we did Isle of Dogs, we did Moonrise Kingdom, we've seen Fantastic Mr. Fox. We're making our way through that whole little catalog, and so that was the inspiration for the directing style. And then as far as the story goes, we had been watching, reading, going back through the Frog and Toad series of children's books. The specific story of Frog and Toad we took inspiration from is called The Lost Button. If you haven't read it, look it up, read it. It's great, it's very cute. I based the two characters, Kai and Roo, off of Frog and Toad, Kai being Frog and Roo being Toad. And I cast our good friends Josiah and Claire to play those characters, and also used the setting of their house since it was such a great fit for that sort of vibe. So some of my goals for this project, I wanted to start off with emotive color grading. So thus far I've definitely just been color grading things as my eye sees them, just going for realism. This time I leaned into a color grade a little similar to what you'd see in Moonrise Kingdom, where there's a yellowy hue to most things. I also wanted to try more symmetrical framing. As you can see I'm doing here, I'm framing most of the shots in that very symmetrically, very boxy, not necessarily giving adequate headroom. I'm almost at the halfway point here, and I think that's a good example of what Wes Anderson tends to do. He frames things symmetrically. I used a lot of wide angle for this because I thought that was appropriate. Right now I'm at 16 millimeters. I did a lot of 16, a lot of 24, some 35. Nothing really that telephoto for this project. More camera moves. I wanted to get out from in front of the camera, so you'll see I'm not actually performing as an actor in this at all, which is definitely my preference. I prefer to be behind the camera, so I officially achieved that this time. And I wanted to do an original score on the bassoon since that just felt right. So some quick stats from pulling out the gear, rehearsing, shooting, eating lunch, shooting some more, tearing down and putting it all back up in the car. It took about 10 hours to shoot this. We did it all in one day. Arrived at around 9 a.m. and left at around 7 p.m. So long day, but we got it all done in one, so that's good. And we shot 112 clips of video, totaling 32 minutes and 1 second, using 46 of those. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, everybody, let's start analyzing some shots. So as I take the final sips of this unbranded Coke, unbranded dark cola, one thing's end is another thing's beginning. So this is the one film I've done so far where I've color graded stylistically rather than realistically, so I gave that a go. You'll see there's a yellowy tint to things. I've got everything pretty high contrast, very yellowy, reddish, brown hues. I think a lot of the environment that we were working with had that. And then within that confine of stylistic color grading, I did make a few deviations that you'll see as we get along with the shot-by-shot breakdown. So without further ado, let's do this. So the first two shots here, I have an establishing shot of the house, static, with the sound of birds, wind chimes, and I overlap the sound of Rue, our main character, fiddling with the keys. She's trying them out. This shot here is fully centered. This is me establishing very early that I'm doing this in the Wes Anderson style. It's very influenced by that style of framing. So it's symmetrical here. We went with the shades just because without them, the window light was so overblown. We had a light right in front of her, centered, flat, 26-inch softbox with a Godox 60L. I think normally my idea would be to go off to one side or the other to get more of a contrast, kind of like what I've got going here. I've got a light in this direction for this setup, but I knew in the Wes Anderson flat, wide angle style, the lighting is a lot more flat as well. We cut back and forth a little bit here to get her fiddling with the keys. We do a close-up overhead shot, which I had the camera... I don't have a overhead stand or a C-stand that suspends overhead, so I literally just had to put the tripod at max height and turn. We framed the keys up, and then when I punch to it a little bit later, I go a little closer up because I do a keyframe pan here to follow it. So I wanted things to end here, but just 2 keyframes there, start and end. Zoomed the image in quite a bit to make that happen. And then I had some warp stabilizer here because without it, her getting up did move the camera quite a bit, actually, the rumble there. So I took that out. So we've got a sequence of 2 shots here of the drawer. So she opens up the drawer. We shot this twice. Boom mic just outside to capture both. Use the audio of opening the drawer from shot 1 and then cross-faded into the audio of rummaging from shot 2 so it would match up. Shot 2 is just a tiny tripod with the camera pointed straight down, 16 mil. Her at another drawer. An opposite shot of the drawer across the way from that. A lot of fading going on here. Most, if not all, of the shots in this sequence and many of the other action sequences, they overlap. It's L cuts, J cuts. We hear things before we see them, and then we hear them after we've not seen them anymore.
Hey, Kai. Do you see my key?
No. What key? No.
The one in my box.
That box doesn't have a key.
What? How else would I unlock it?
A lost key is a great tragedy. I will mourn your loss.
Shouldn't you be working?
I'd rather solve a mystery.
We cut to a new character. Kai is sitting at his desk. So we have 2 shots here that we alternate between. I shot coverage here for this scene, just the whole scene twice. So the first angle here is, it's multi-purpose. It starts as a centered shot of Kai staring right out the window that's behind the camera. As we can see behind him, he's supposed to be working on something. He's dilly-dallying. He's looking off to the side. In comes Rue, and we swivel to an over-the-shoulder shot. We shift focus as she walks in, so the focus is on her now. And then as he turns, I pan to frame her up pretty much on the third. And then it becomes an over-the-shoulder shot for the rest of the scene, and it stays there. Otherwise, for this shot, in the back corner, we have a 2300 Kelvin LED panel shooting up at this far corner, motivated by the lamp that's right next to it. The lamp itself wasn't supplying really nearly that much light, so I just wanted to add some more to the background. I didn't want a whole lot of subject background contrast. And otherwise, I believe for this shot, it's all window light. I don't think I fit a light back there. It was not much space between him and the camera. So this shot we have of Kai, and in this case, I had off to the left here our larger softbox with the Godox. I had it pointed at him, and to me that's motivated by the previous window from the other shot that we see before the swivel. Yeah, that window there motivates that. But we had nice natural backlight coming from that window, so I was pretty happy with this shot because you've got the Rembrandt triangle here a little bit. I really just used what was cleanest sounding, but for both takes I kept the mics in similar positions. So in this shot here, the boom for Kai's mic is just out of frame here, and it's over top of him, so it's probably peeking out right there. Rue's mic I hid behind this desk, so you can kind of see it. You can kind of see the stand and the poorly wrapped cable, but we hope no one notices that. Punch in here for this shot, just get a little tighter. We don't need the fully wide framing. And also, if I remember correctly, yep, there's that boom mic. Snuck right into frame, didn't it? So, partially necessity, but also we can get in there. Didn't lose any pixels either. Thank you, Blackmagic 6K. This shot I actually did tilt up to him and followed him. It's from this other shot, but the tilt itself never went great, so I just cut straight to it.
What's this key look like anyway?
It was like a faded gold or a silver or something.
Well, which one was it?
Just keep looking.
The adventure has begun. So this next series of shots in the basement, I wanted the conversation to flow between shots because I always like when movies do that. Scott Pilgrim, other examples. It's nice to have a conversation throughout multiple shots. It helps to string the thing together. So Kai really in this just asks a bunch of questions. So here he goes with his first one.
What's this key look like anyway?
Now this, I believe all of this light was natural or practical. Not natural. There's no sunlight in their basement. Neatly enough, they have this automatic light that comes on in their basement. So it clicks on as they look down, which I thought worked. Kai popping into frame here. While we were hanging out, we were calling this the meerkat shot because that was what I had in mind is they're working in the basement. I know their basement has a lot of depth, so we kind of used that and just had him pop out while he asks a question. We hear the rummaging, and that's for the following shot to establish that he's rummaging through some stuff, and I'll show it later. I use the word rummaging a lot. I might do a counter up top of how many times I use the word rummage, but that's all that is, just him moving around. I did a little pan, a little movement there. No lights in this shot, which definitely shows. I did use the first ISO band, so maybe should have gone with the second one. It's a little underexposed, but it's quick enough. I think it works.
How will I know if it's the right one?
I'll know.
So this is where I start getting a little cheeky with it, I suppose. This is shot from under their glass table. I had them put a bunch of little pictures, little knickknacks, several keys, and had them sorting through it. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if right on cue, Kai moves the picture or something to unobscure Rue's face right before her line. I'll just show you some of the other takes.
How will I know if it's the right one?
I'll know.
How will I know if it's the right one?
Yeah. Sticks hand on it. Thinks about it. All right. Moving it. I had off to the right, just bouncing with the reflector, our Godox 60L, just to fill the room. This is a shot that pans back and forth from stationary. I used the closing of the cabinet as an audio-based cut to get us to this next scene.
I'll know.
We follow Rue to the other cabinet. As she's looking, we go back to see that Kai is looking through the exact same cabinet right after her. So this wide shot was just outside of their house, filming inside. Definitely got some attention from the neighbors, me filming inside someone's house. And then as they walk away, I did another keyframe, this time with the rotation. So you'll see at 0, it's slightly crooked, the angle. And I thought, I can fix that. It was 1 degree too crooked, so I fixed it. But I fixed it live, so I went a little too far to 2 and then back to 1. All easy ease. Gotta check under the dog, always. Gotta do it. So I added this Ziggy looking under shot, one, because I thought it was cute, but I definitely went with it because of the following shot. This was a shot that Kendallin thought of, actually. So I went with this one. She liked the idea of feet going upstairs. Both of them, she said, Kai and Rue, scamper upstairs. But as we're about to do it, we thought, well, if we take your dog out, we've had him in the other room because he won't stop barking. What if you take him out? Would he follow you up the stairs? They go, totally. He'll totally follow us up the stairs. And so we hit roll. This was take 1 of 1. We get to the top of the stairs, look both ways, not up here. I didn't even want to show they're upstairs. Just, it's not here. This is another wide shot outside. This brings us back outside because we had one shot of the house establishing, and then we have another to take them outside. So this, I did a fair bit of keyframing on position-wise and zoom-wise because this is what it looked like by default. There's just a little stuttering, so I covered that up. Not entirely happy with how the movement ended up on this shot, so put Lumetri color saturation keyframes, had it desaturated. I think the cut from the stairs to the desaturated outside felt a little more graceful than cutting right to blue. Just trying something new there.
Let's retrace your steps. Where all have you been today?
The shed?
So this is another coverage situation. We have the 2 shots. We have one close-up of Rue and one close-up of Kai, which I comically cut him off on purpose, actually. The original framing, I had him in frame. Decided to cut him off because he's so much taller. So this shot here, we did a bunch of takes, the whip pan around. So while I whip around, I've got to shift the focus further away to where Kai's going to be and then chase him with the focus as he gets further away. In addition to the fact that I've whipped around from her and then you just see him pop back into frame running.
No dice, field mice.
Mice in the shed?
It's a figure of speech, Ruru.
This shed sequence ended up a little more complicated than I thought it would be because I did want it to flow. So going into it, we keep the footsteps going from the previous shot a little bit, but if you look closely, you can see him just standing out there at the beginning of this shot. I should have had him stand out of the way of you can see. I think it's just small enough that we don't really notice unless we watch it several times. And I believe in order to keep the thing closed, he had it locked. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. He did have it locked in the shot, so he would have had to unlock it technically. And then we have Rue pop into frame. So then we cut to a close-up reaction of Rue.
Hey, is this it?
The discovery. He has found a key that just might work. Lighting-wise, in the shed, I did add an LED panel for this shot. I had it coming back for this shot from in the garage. And then this shot, I put some panel light to give the key some shine. I had the panel light behind. This shot here, very quick, because it was not a shot that we were going for. We were getting ready for a take of the previous line, and she just did that. She was just joking around. But she didn't hold it for long. Also, I moved the camera right after, so that's why it's such a quick shot. I took as much of it as I could. It worked out. I think we really needed that too, because otherwise we didn't really have another reaction on site.
The moment of truth.
You're a little close.
Discovery beckons proximity.
So throughout this process, I realized a lot of the shots we set up, there are a lot of lines and movement. Nothing super crazy for anybody who does this regularly, but for working with non-actors, I had surprisingly a lot to expect of them, and I think they did very well with it. So this shot, they walk into frame. Chair is centered perfectly as before. We're going back to the box to check it out. I wanted it very choreographed. They walk in together. She sits, and he gets in real close. He's excited. So this shot here, I took influence from the opening of Grand Budapest Hotel, where they have this guy doing a voiceover straight to camera, and they turn this light up on his face as he's talking. And I'm like, why did they do that? That's so silly. But I did it for dramatic effect here. So as she puts her hand up to put the key to the lock, I turn up an LED light, put a spotlight on the whole situation. Of course, the backlight from up here, we had our softbox light from the other shots. I wanted his hand gesture to be loving but dismissive. It's like, it's not like a get out of here. It's a little too much, but I wanted like a, okay, there we go. So then we cut to a close-up two shot of the two of them here. I was going to do like a full look, but I think just the eyes ended up a little more subtle. So I did count them in here. And 1, 2, 3, look. Great. So they just a quick look there.
Isn't the special part the wondering?
So there's some movement here, a diagonal pan tilt, because we start focused on the box, and then we pan tilt up to get a two shot. So I'm panning and tilting and racking focus. He says his line.
Isn't the special part the wondering?
And the best part is not the wondering, according to Rue's facial expression. We open the box. Just perfectly centered piece of gum in there. Very silly and zany. My final keyframe, I pan up to her with the keyframe because otherwise it was just a full frame shot of the two of them. It was originally centered, but so I took that out in favor of keyframe tilting up to her face to follow the gum. And then we just end with a simple static shot of the house. Then we get ourselves to the credits, which was a lovely drone shot by Josiah, the person who played Kai. He has a drone. He's a videographer. You should check him out. Vitalize Media. He sent me a handful of little drone shots. This was the one I used, just following very perfectly this train. So I thought, this is really nice. There's no train in this story, so there's no place in the story for me to insert the train. But just put the names up there, give us time to read them, and gone. I didn't want to take up 30 seconds, minute and a half of credits of, I made this, and also I did the music, and also I edited it, and I directed it. No, I made it. Here are the people that are in it that helped, and have a good day. So that's the shot-by-shot breakdown. I think as a summary, yellowy color grading throughout, symmetrical framing, keyframe pans, keyframe tilts, L cut and J cuts to get us through, but trying to make things look pretty while at the same time being true to the flat portrayal that you would expect from something a little more storybook style. So that's pretty much it. Appreciate you. So here we are at the end of my third analysis video, and what are my thoughts? Just off the cuff, I think I'm very proud of this project from a few perspectives. Music, I really enjoyed making, and I really think it came off great. Color, I was very happy with. This was my first time manually color grading straight from nothing for one of these films. I'd done it for other projects in the past, but none of my personal short films. I'd always started from the embedded LUT. So the negatives, I think writing, dialogue could definitely use a little bit of work, and in the future I'll be bringing in some other folks on the writing side of things to help me out, since I'm a lot more of a cinematographer, director, technical-minded person myself. So overall verdict, I think I took a step up in a lot of ways for this third short film and a step sideways in some other ways. I don't think I've gotten worse at anything, but I'll keep making them, and if you keep watching them, that's great, but if not, I'll probably still keep making them anyways, because I like to learn, I like to work with my friends, and I like to take up their weekends acting in my things. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I hope you'll tune in next time. See ya.